Hey guys, my name is Joyce McClure, and today I will be speaking upon the gender roles in cinematic films based on the race of women. So I'll be speaking on how white women are portrayed in movies as being a woman and how black women are portrayed in movies based on being a woman and the roles that these films have placed us in based on our gender. Now I'm just going to go ahead and go straight into it, and if you do see me looking to the side here and there, it's just that I'm making sure I'm staying on topic with my bulleted points. So a study that I read by Prater in 2004 portrays the ongoing roles that have been placed on women based on race, and what that basically means is that based on whether you're a white woman or a black woman, we all have certain gender roles that we have to fulfill or that society expects us to fulfill that are very unlike each other, and that if we were to react to this mistreatment, that society has caused it to make us seem anything less than feminine because we're not accepting of these roles. What I took from this article is that whether you're a black woman or a white woman, we both have the limitations of how we can portray ourselves within films, which is something that has been going on for some time now. And most films, black women are portrayed as being the mammy, which is the nurturer or caretaker of the home, or the Jezebel, which is the mistress. And white women are portrayed as being housewives who wear dresses, very submissive to the male in their life, and will ignore their own true feelings just so the male can, I guess, still attain his ego of having that dominant role. And as I kept on reading the article, it even expressed how these same gender roles versus white women and black women are even expressed into Disney films. If you all recall The Little Mermaid, Ariel, she came from King Triton, who was a man of a lot of power. She could not express how she felt about the prince that she was interested in because she didn't want to disappoint her father. So that was her fulfilling the role of being a submissive woman and ignoring her emotional feelings, versus Princess Tiana and the Princess and the Frog. She kind of fulfilled their role of being a fatherless child, being raised by a single mother, and although she found her Prince charming at the end, it always circulated back to how she wants to own her own restaurant, which again made her fulfill that servant role of being a black woman. Another point that I took from this article is how being a Jezebel for a black woman is frowned upon, but how having promiscuous ways, such as Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman, is praised upon due to her achieving true love at the end. And what's acceptable for a white woman just isn't acceptable for a black woman in cinematic films. Another article that I read was based on a study by Plenge in 2003, which investigated the representation of black and white women in educational films in American history. And what I took from it is that the films convey very irrational messages which impacted female identity. Kind of going back to what I said earlier based on the first article, white women were seemed to be submissive, yes, honorable housewives in these films, and that the black woman was unprotected, unaccredited, and was treated as either a mistress or a mammy. And it also pointed out how even with interracial relationships, it was unacceptable for a white woman to want to sleep with a black man based on if there was an offspring produced from this interaction, it would cause humiliation towards the white male. Once again, white women having to hide their feelings and emotions based on the white male dominance, versus the black woman was expected to also stroke the white male dominance based on if she wanted to have consensual sex with the white man or not, she had to. Now that's just kind of what the article put out there, how, the white woman couldn't sleep with the black man based on these reasons related to the white male, but the black woman had to sleep with the white male based on his presence, which shows that we both had to be placed into these roles that we didn't agree with, but what was accepted within society at the time. The next article that I want to speak about is a study that was performed by Jeffrey in 2014, which explores 3 cinematic representations of black matriarchs who played futuristic roles. Now, what I really enjoyed about this article is that although that these women represented powerful images, subliminally, they were still being placed into these gender roles of black women that's been going on even since slave times. Ica from the Quest of Fire represented the Jezebel, the promiscuous mistress. Key from Children of Men represented the Haggard, which a Haggard is a woman who would white couples help white couples produce children if the woman was barren and couldn't produce. And the Oracle in the Matriarchology identified with being the mammy, the nurturer. So, like I said earlier, although these are powerful images, they was more so reinvented gender roles of the black female. And basically reiterated the idea that black women bodies and roles was made for mothering or sexual or consenting to sexual needs, which brings us back to being the legacy of our slave past. And then another film that they mentioned was The Mammy's Daughters, where white women could either be placed into roles of either being a lady, a woman, or a wench if she came from a low socioeconomic status, versus black women being hypersexualized, once again only being placed into the roles of being a mammy or Haggard or Jezebel. The white woman was honored and praised for submissiveness and accepting these roles, versus the black woman just kind of had to just go into these roles. But both were suffering based on doing things that they may not have typically wanted to do. Another article is by Arika in 2018, which basically studied the depiction of black women in films, which limited black women to what they could portray. And what I mean by that is that what I took from the article is basically that black women have rose up from being limited to being the mammy, the Jezebel, or the Haggard, but in exchange, we have been looked at as the welfare mothers or the educated black bitch within films. And what I mean by that is that romantic films, black romantic films, in a sense, have brought positive and negative effects to gender roles for black women. And especially with mass consumptions of these romantic films, such as Love and Basketball or Just Right or Daddy's Little Girl, it encompasses complex arrangements, whereas that, yes, as a black woman, you can be educated, you can be successful, but most likely you're going to have a hard time having a family or finding a man who is just as successful as you, versus films that may show a woman who is on welfare and uneducated, but they have children and a man. So it kind of places that idea that black women are either limited to achieving this or achieving that. And there's really not any room to do either or. Either you want to be successful and lonely, or either you want to struggle but have a man and children. And that's just kind of the gender role that cinematic films is placed in. To kind of go ahead and jump into the next article, because I'm running out of time, was based on the divas of black film, and I'm just going to speak on Pam Grier, Oprah Winfrey, and Halle Berry. Although these women are heavily honored within black films, once again, Pam Grier, she just always kind of fulfilled that role of being a Jezebel, highly sexualized and lusted after. Oprah Winfrey always portraying the mammy role, and then Halle Berry being the Haggard, but being more universal based on her being a biracial woman. And just within all these articles, it just goes to show that gender roles are real. They are highly put out there in films, and that it's shown that gender roles affects all women, but gender roles affect all women, but they are placed upon us based on what race or category that we fit into. So that's all I have, and I hope you all have enjoyed and found my research interesting. Sorry I had to cut it short, but it's almost 2 minutes. So bye.